Guys, I'm bringing to you an update on Adriana Smith's story. We all know that story about a young lady who was pregnant and she fell sick and she was announced brain dead in the hospital. Now, she fell sick when she was like 6 or 9 weeks pregnant, and in the state of Georgia where she resides, as long as you can hear the heartbeat of the baby, it doesn't matter. You have to grow that baby. So they kept her on life support after her family consented, and in hopes of growing that baby. Now, last week on Friday, this baby was brought to the world via emergency C-section. I don't know how I feel about this story. I feel like this story is messed up. I just have so many mixed emotions. I'm happy the baby's here, and we pray that the baby is okay with no complications. Right now the baby is in NICU, I think that's what it's called. I just have so many mixed emotions about this. I feel like this is too much, but we're gonna watch some videos and we will come back and give our opinion about this. And if you have any opinions and comments, just leave them down below and we see what you guys are thinking about this topic.
We want her to have her baby. We want her life to continue throughout her children. And I'm not saying that we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy. What I'm saying is she's not there, but the baby's there. We wanted to know if she was to abort, would she have a chance at her life? And they said there was no chance or no hope. We want her to have her baby. We want her life to continue throughout her children. But at the same time, to see her lay there like that, for that length of time, the grieving process, the journey is for baby Chance to survive. And in whatever condition God allows him to come here in, we're going to love him just the same. And we're going to embrace him.
So this is Adriana's mother, and she's saying that they chose to keep her on alive, like on life support, to grow the baby, because they inquired if she would make it if she had an abortion, and they were told no, she wouldn't make it. I can see why they chose that. Maybe after Adriana goes, the baby will be here. Maybe they wanted her to have someone left behind for these memories. I can see why they did that, but it doesn't sit well with me. Like, she didn't have an opportunity, she didn't have a chance. And there's some women out there who would say, I'm gonna share with you those videos, you will see them. There's some women out there who say, you know, I would, if it's me, I would want my baby to live. But we are talking about Adriana here. She didn't have that choice. She didn't have that consent. She didn't have that opportunity to decide. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let's continue into the videos.
Hey everyone, we have a critical update on the Adriana Smith case. So as a reminder, Adriana, a nurse from Georgia, was declared brain dead in February while 8 weeks pregnant. On June 13th, her son named Chance was born via emergency C-section. He weighed just over 1 pound and is now in the NICU. Her family is preparing to say goodbye to Adriana this week. But here's the ethical crisis. Her family says that they were told the hospital had to keep Adriana on life support due to Georgia's abortion law, House Bill 481. That's false. The law does not require life support after brain death. Even the Georgia Attorney General clarified that removing life support is not considered abortion. Still, the hospital kept her on machines for 4 months. Her family had no legal say, no chance to advocate for her values or wishes. That's a fundamental violation of informed consent and medical ethics. And here's something that hasn't been talked about enough, right? The medications used to preserve Adriana's body likely harmed the fetus. Vasopressors, corticosteroids, sedation, and hormonal support can cause placenta insufficiency, impaired growth, brain bleeds, or long-term neurodevelopmental issues, especially in extreme prematurity. This baby was fighting before he was even born. This wasn't just about keeping Adriana's body alive, it was about forcing her body to become a vessel for a potential life without her consent and at a great risk to that very life. A 7-year-old boy now has to grow up without his mother. Her newborn son may face lifelong complications, and her mother is left saying, quote, "We should have had a choice," end quote. This case is what happens when vague, overly broad laws are weaponized against families, especially Black women. We have to do better legally, ethically, and medically.
Adriana Smith should be alive, but instead on June 13th, 2025, her baby named Chance was forced into this world in Georgia at just 24 weeks old. That's about 15 weeks early, you guys. He weighed only 1 pound 13 ounces, and the reason he came so early is heartbreaking. Okay, Adriana was a 26-year-old nurse, and she was declared brain dead back in February after suffering a massive brain bleed. She was just 9 weeks pregnant at the time. Her family wanted to honor her wishes and let her go, but Georgia's heartbeat law, which bans abortion after around 6 weeks, meant the hospital refused. Even though she was legally dead, the state turned her body into an incubator. Yes. Now, doctors originally hoped to keep her on machines until around 32 weeks, but her body started to break down, which caused complications. So they made the call to deliver early, an emergency C-section on June 13th. That's why Chance was forced into this world. Not by choice, not by nature, nor God's will. Okay, let's get that straight. And his name, Chance, that was given to him by Adriana's mother, because despite everything, he still has one chance. Right now, that baby is in the NICU fighting to survive, but Adriana will never get to hold him, and her family had to watch her body be kept alive for months, not for her, but for politics. Now, Adriana didn't get a choice, her family didn't. It's what happens when women's rights are erased, when pregnant bodies are treated like state property.
My opinion about this whole story is that this is a political move. They wanted to test the waters to see how the world would react on this. They used Adriana as an experiment to see and to set precedent for future judgments on such scenarios, such similar scenarios. Like, I can't believe that the family sat down and they said, okay, let's keep her on life support, brain dead, to just support the baby, to grow the baby. I feel like if they had the choice, they would have said, okay, let's get done with it. But I can also see why they chose her to be on life support, because they were told that Adriana, even though she gets an abortion, she will not survive. And maybe that's why they were forced to do that. And as a consolation of when Adriana passes, they will have the baby. They'll have the baby to be there to remember her. I can see why they would decide that. But part of me thinks that this was forced. It was political. Like, that state law is ridiculous. It's messed up. I know some women out there are like, okay, I would choose my baby to live, but you have that choice to make. Adriana, we are talking about Adriana here. She didn't have that opportunity, the one you are talking about right now. She didn't sit down and say, okay, when this happens, I will choose this. What if she chose otherwise? And hopefully that baby grows into a healthy baby, because if we go through all this and that baby doesn't make it, that would be horrible. I pray for this family. Let's continue into the videos. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video. Thank you.
Stop saying she gave birth. Stop it. Stop trying to normalize the removal of Adriana Smith's baby by claiming that she gave birth. No, she didn't. No, she did not. Saying that she gave birth or that she delivered the baby implies that she somehow participated. And in order to do that, she would have to be alive, which she wasn't. A baby was removed from her dead body. That is all. That's what happened. You know, I'm old enough to remember when Chinese women were forced to have abortions by their government for population control, and how outraged Americans were that the Chinese government had that much control over women's bodies. But here we are forcing women to incubate babies even after they're dead. It's disgusting. It's fucking Handmaid's Tale. This type of situation should never, ever be allowed to happen to another biological female again. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Unpopular opinion, use my corpse to incubate my child. Use my corpse to incubate my child, please.
Unpopular opinion, no, it's a dystopian nightmare wrapped in your personal martyr complex. You volunteering your unalived body is your business, but this isn't about you. This is about Adriana Smith, a woman who didn't consent, who's being legally desecrated, reduced to a corpse incubator because of cruel, misogynistic law that says her humanity ends the moment sperm meets egg. You are not brave. You are just enabling a system that treats women as livestock, our bodies just vessels, even in death. Her family is grieving. Her life is over, but you're more concerned about a 9-week-old clump of cells with no consciousness than an unalived woman whose wishes are being trampled. That is not pro-life. That's state-sanctioned abuse. This is the Handmaid's Tale. So stop glorifying female suffering like it's divine. You're not a hero. You're the villain in someone else's story.